Now, can you afford to go on a business trip abroad when you don't even have a proper job? Aren't you embarrassed to make such claims? It's not a claim. I really am traveling overseas for work, I replied. Well then, we're done, he said bluntly and walked out of the room. To him, working from home means I'm just lounging around and not actually contributing, but I earn a steady income and even help cover our living expenses. Still, he refuses to see it that way. A few days after I returned from my business trip, I found signed divorce papers on my desk. If he can't understand me after all this time, what's the point of staying married? So, I signed the papers and took them to the court. My name is Lisa Palmer, and I am 31 years old. My husband, Jake Palmer, is 34. We started dating in college and got married when I was 26. We were more like best friends than romantic partners, always honest with each other. Sometimes that's a good thing, but it can lead to unexpected issues. For me, the issues began when I shared my dream with him. I've always wanted to run an online store selling imported goods. The idea came to me while I was working part-time at a boutique during my university days. I love foreign designs, and was fascinated by the unique items I saw there. After college, I aimed to open my own store, so I became a full-time employee at the boutique. Even with a stable job, I couldn't let go of my dream. I truly wanted to have my own shop filled with my favorite foreign goods and deliver them to customers. My parents and friends supported me, saying things like, "Good luck," and "You'll definitely succeed." I assumed Jake would understand and support my dream too. I tried bringing up the topic with Jake when he got home from work. "Hey Jake, you know I've been thinking about opening my own shop for a while, right?" "Not this again," he sighed. "It's not gonna work if you just jump into it like that. You should let it go." "Why would you say that? It's not a sudden whim. I've been planning this for a long time," I said, feeling a lump form in my throat. "Impossible is impossible. Life isn't as simple as you think it is," he replied coldly. "There's no need to be so harsh. Why do you always dismiss my ideas right away?" I asked, my voice rising unintentionally. Jake looked at me with icy eyes and a disdainful expression. "Then tell me, what's your plan if this idea doesn't work out?" "I know it won't be a success overnight, but..." "And what about your income until then? We're splitting rent and bills right now, and you're telling me I have to cover everything?" "No, that's not what I'm saying. I have savings for the initial costs, and I'll still contribute," I explained, my voice shaking. "Oh, really? Then do whatever you want, but if it doesn't work out, don't expect me to care," he said dismissively. Every time I brought up starting my own business, Jake would get angry. His reason was simple. He feared my income would become unstable. The boutique where I worked was in a prime location and attracted many customers, so my income was pretty high, almost on par with Jake's office salary. It might even have been a bit higher. That's why I often paid for our meals when we went out and sometimes covered a larger portion of the rent. The idea of my income decreasing was something Jake just couldn't accept. At first, he would say things like, "Why rush?" or "You should take your time and prepare," in a gentle tone. But now, he didn't hesitate to hurt my feelings. Even so, I didn't give up on my dream of having my own shop, no matter how much Jake opposed it. I stayed focused on making my dream a reality. Eventually, I overcame his objections, and at the age of 27, I started an online boutique. At first, just as Jake had predicted, it was difficult to get things off the ground. But over time, I tried various strategies. I took advantage of the online platform by outsourcing to reputable e-commerce companies, promoting on social media, and doing everything I could to succeed. Thanks to these efforts, a year after launching my business, things began to improve. I started earning a steady income, expanded my customer base, and added more products. Now, my annual sales have reached $600,000. Because Jake was so opposed to my business, I never discussed the sales with him. I figured he wouldn't care anyway, and he never asked. But he always reminded me about paying the rent and other living expenses. I always just gave him the money he asked for without making a fuss. I kept our work-related conversations brief and non-confrontational. Then, one day, something unexpected happened. I received a message on my online shop's direct messaging system. I'm a regular customer of your shop. I was wondering, in addition to the international knickknacks, could you also sell furniture? Actually, several customers had requested that I sell furniture too, but unlike smaller items, selling furniture online is more complex. Furniture is more expensive, and factors like material quality are crucial. Even though I had worked in an import shop before, there were risks involved in buying and selling furniture without seeing it first. So, I decided to call my former boss from the import shop to discuss it. "Hello, is this the manager? I have something I'd like to talk about." As soon as the manager, Laura, recognized my voice, she sounded delighted. "Lisa, it's been a while. If there's anything I can help with, just let me know." "Well, I've had some requests to sell furniture in my online shop." "Furniture? That's a big step," she replied thoughtfully. "I was thinking of checking out the actual items before selling them. How did you find your products, Laura?" "I see what you mean. I can definitely assist with that." Laura, who had connections with suppliers from various countries, offered to reach out to one of them and arrange for them to provide furniture for my shop. Thanks to my good relationship with Laura, the overseas supplier was willing to help. I decided I would travel abroad to check out the furniture. However, I couldn't just leave without telling my husband. So that evening, I brought up the subject with Jake. "Jake, about the week after next, would it be okay if I'm away for about a week?" "A week? Why so long?" he asked, sounding suspicious. "Well, I might need to go abroad for work with Laura from the shop I used to work at," I explained. "Abroad? If you're going to make up stories, at least make them believable," he scoffed. "What?" I asked, taken aback. He pointed at me with a mocking look on his face. "You're going overseas for work? You barely have a real job. What are you even talking about?" "Wait a minute, you know I run an online shop, right?" "This trip is to find new items for the shop," I tried to clarify. "So you think I'll just believe you because you say it's for work? Are you kidding me? Your little shop isn't gonna get you anywhere." "Believe what you want, but our sales are strong, and our customer base is growing. This trip is in response to a customer's request," I insisted. "If you keep pushing, I won't allow you, a person who barely leaves the house, to go away for a whole week," he said, then stormed off to the bathroom, beer in hand. A deep sigh escaped me. Why can't he try to understand? His reaction is too extreme just because he doesn't approve of my work. But I can't go abroad without his consent. I need to convince him somehow. Even though I was anxious about bringing it up again, I couldn't ignore the issue. The next day, when he came home from work, I spoke to him once more. "Jake, about yesterday's discussion." "I'm exhausted. I don't have time for your fabrications," he cut me off. "I'm only telling the truth. An unemployed person going on a business trip abroad? You're good at making up stories," he said mockingly. "I'm not lying. I really need to go abroad for work," I pleaded, grabbing his arm. He looked down at me, mockery still in his eyes. "Oh, really? Then liars get divorced too." "Divorced? What are you talking about?" "I can't stand liars, especially people like you who always try to pretend they're something they're not." "I didn't mean—" "Shut up! You just want an excuse to take a vacation abroad. I bet your so-called boss is a guy too, right? Divorce? I'll make sure to take my share of everything," he said, storming out of the room. At that moment, fury boiled up inside me. Who does he think he is, belittling me like that? I work from home, but he only wants to feel superior. Enough is enough. If he wants it that way, then I'll do what I want. So, I stopped asking for his approval, and decided to go on my business trip abroad as planned. 3 weeks later, I traveled overseas with Laura. We went directly to our suppliers in the US, where we inspected the furniture and accessories I planned to sell in my boutique. Since I was already abroad, I spent the last day sightseeing with Laura, and we had a great time. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing. My phone was bombarded with angry messages from Jake. "You didn't really go overseas, did you? Get back here now. I'll forgive you if you return today. Time's up. We're getting divorced, you worthless woman." Every message fueled my frustration, but I didn't reply. I knew that engaging with him would only escalate things. When I returned, if he was willing to talk, we'd discuss it then. With that decision made, I enjoyed a carefree week abroad. The business trip concluded, and I bid farewell to Laura at the airport, before starting my journey home. Facing Jake felt daunting, but I braced myself and opened the front door. "I'm home," I called out. The house was dark, and no one greeted me. As I walked into the living room, I saw laundry scattered on the floor, leaving no clear path. Used dishes and instant noodle containers were piled up in the sink. Amidst this mess, I noticed a piece of paper on the desk. "What is this?" I thought. It was a completed divorce form. Next to it was a hastily written note that read, "To the lying, jobless woman, I am done with you. Sign the divorce papers immediately. If you want forgiveness, come to my parents' house, and I'll reconsider." Just reading the note, I could picture Jake's smug face. He probably thought this would make me rush to apologize. Of course, I had no intention of doing that. I signed the divorce papers he had left for me and headed straight to the courthouse. Everything went smoothly, and the divorce was finalized without any issues. Afterward, I visited a real estate agent to cancel the lease on our apartment. This apartment had been mine before we married, and when Jake and I decided to live together, he moved in because it was spacious enough for both of us. We had talked about moving to a bigger place if we had kids, but that was no longer relevant. Once I completed the lease cancellation, I returned to the apartment and began packing my belongings. The next day, I arranged for my things to be sent to my parents' house. I also arranged for Jake's belongings to be sent to his parents' house. During this time, Jake continued sending me messages full of angry demands and accusations. "Stop being stubborn and come apologize now. You have until the end of the week." Messages like that, I ignored them all. I continued packing and sending everything from the apartment, both mine and Jake's, to our respective parents' homes. Once the apartment was empty, I moved back in with my parents. A week later, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Even though I ignored the calls, they kept coming, so I decided to answer, intending for this to be the last time we spoke. I pressed the answer button. "Hello?" Immediately, Jake started shouting, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Surprised by his loud voice, I pulled the phone away from my ear. I decided to record the call just in case something happened. Then I spoke again. "What's the problem?" "There's nothing left to discuss." "Don't mess with me! Why were all my things sent to my parents' house? I just got to the apartment and it's completely empty." "Oh, that. Well, I canceled the lease on the apartment, so I sent your things to your parents' house." "What? You didn't even talk to me about this," he yelled. "There was no need. You were so sure about the divorce, so I made my own plans. I didn't think you'd want to stay in an apartment that was under my name," I explained calmly. You had no right to touch my things," he shouted angrily. "Actually, I did. You left the divorce papers and made it clear you wanted out. I just took care of the rest," I replied. "I can't believe you would do this. You're so selfish," he continued. "Jake, you called me a lying, jobless woman. You wanted a divorce and didn't care to talk things through. Now I've made the changes you wanted." "There's no point in dragging this out," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Dragging this out? You moved all my stuff without my permission. You didn't even give me a chance to decide," he raged on. "You had a chance. You chose to end things abruptly and left me with no choice but to take action. You said you couldn't stand me and wanted a divorce, so I took care of everything," I responded. Jake was silent for a moment, probably thinking about what to say next. Then he finally spoke again. "You're just trying to make yourself look good. You always do this. You never cared about what I wanted." I took a deep breath and said, "Jake, I've always tried to be understanding and supportive, but you made it clear you didn't respect me or my work. I'm not going to argue about this anymore. The decision is final." "What about all the memories? What about everything we shared?" he asked, his voice softer now. Memories are just that. Memories. We can't live in the past. You made a choice, and now we have to move forward. I wish you the best, but I'm moving on, I replied, trying to stay strong. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Then Jake finally said, "Fine, do whatever you want, but don't expect me to come crawling back to you." "I don't. Goodbye, Jake," I said, and hung up the phone. A wave of relief and sadness washed over me. It wasn't easy to end things this way, but I knew it was the right decision. I took a deep breath and looked around my parents' house, feeling a sense of comfort and support. It was time to start a new chapter in my life, free from the negativity that had held me back for so long. I canceled the lease, so I had to move everything out, right? "What? Canceled? How could you do something like that on your own?" Jake shouted, sounding shocked and angry. "On my own? The apartment was in my name. I can do whatever I want with it, can't I?" At this point, I had nothing left to lose. His words didn't affect me at all, and I responded in a defiant tone. Jake's irritation was evident on his face. "Don't mess with me. I don't care about the lease. We were married, remember? I lived in that apartment too, and you just went ahead and canceled it without even talking to me." "Married, yes. But whether you think I cheated or not, we're still married. Canceling the lease on our apartment without discussing it with your husband, what were you thinking? You think you can just do whatever you want even though you're unemployed? I'll never forgive you for this," he continued to yell, showing no regard for my feelings or my situation. His rant made it clear he didn't care about me or my perspective at all. So, I decided to tell him the truth. "Sorry to burst your bubble, but you're getting all worked up about not forgiving me. And we're not even married anymore, okay?" I said, trying to keep my voice calm. "What? What are you talking about?" Jake looked confused and angry. "I submitted the divorce papers you left behind, so we're strangers now. Why should I keep renting a place for a stranger?" "Hold on, you're joking, right? You're basically unemployed. You'd be in trouble without me," he said, trying to sound like he was still in control of the situation. "What? Don't make me laugh. When did I ever say that?" I replied, feeling a mixture of frustration and relief. Jake was caught off guard and didn't know what to say. He stammered, trying to find the right words. Taking the opportunity to release my pent-up frustration, I continued, "You've looked down on me all this time. I'm not the unemployed or jobless person you think I am. I didn't cheat on you. I was traveling abroad for work to find products for my customers. If you can't believe that, fine. But just so you know, I'll never forgive you." "Wait a minute, your online store. It's not like sales can just go up like that," he said, still trying to argue. "I've been working hard for the past 5 years. You don't know anything about what I do, and you didn't even try to understand. You kept making assumptions and treating me like I was worthless." "5 years?" he asked, clearly surprised. "Yes, 5 years. Just so you know, I've been making many times more money than you. You looked down on me and belittled me. I don't want a marriage like this. You can live a miserable life on your own for all I care." Jake stood there, speechless. He didn't know how to respond. I could see the realization starting to dawn on him that he had been wrong about me all along, but it was too late for regrets. "You've always tried to make me feel small and unimportant," I continued, feeling a weight lifting off my shoulders as I spoke. "You never supported me or my dreams. All you cared about was being in control and making yourself feel superior." "Wait, let's talk about this," he finally said, his voice softer now. "I didn't realize how serious you were." "It's too late for that, Jake. You made your choice when you left those divorce papers and decided to treat me like I didn't matter. I'm moving on, and I'm not looking back." "But we were married. We have a history," he said, still trying to hold on to something. "History is just that, history. We can't live in the past. You made it clear you didn't respect me or value our relationship. I'm done trying to make things work with someone who doesn't care about me." Jake looked like he wanted to say something, but he didn't. He just stood there looking defeated and unsure of what to do next. I felt a sense of closure, knowing that I had finally stood up for myself and made a decision that was best for me. Goodbye, Jake, I said, turning to leave. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for, but I won't be a part of it. As I walked away, I felt a mixture of relief and sadness. It wasn't easy to end things this way, but I knew it was the right decision. I had finally taken control of my life and my future. It was time to start a new chapter, free from the negativity and control that had held me back for so long. I took a deep breath and looked forward to the new opportunities and challenges that lay ahead, feeling stronger and more confident than ever before. I hung up the phone, deleted Jake's contact information, and blocked all ways for him to get in touch with me. It seemed he finally realized how many people were using my online store and how successful I had become. He even heard about my success through mutual friends. One day, he showed up at my parents' house, but I had no desire to see or talk to him anymore. Jake made the effort to come to my parents' house, but my dad turned him away at the door. Apparently, Jake's own parents found out about how badly he treated me and kicked him out of their house. Now I heard he is renting an apartment near his job and spends his time just going back and forth between home and work, alone. As for me, I decided to stay with my parents for a while. Thanks to my job, I can work from anywhere, and that is a real blessing. My parents' house is quite old and needs some fixing up, so I am planning to start renovations soon. I am confident that my online store will continue to grow and thrive. Living at my parents' house gives me the freedom to focus on my business without worrying about anyone else. I can travel abroad whenever I need to find new products for my store. Even though I now have a divorce on my record, I don't regret choosing to follow my dreams over staying in a toxic marriage. I plan to keep working hard and repay the kindness of the people who have supported me along the way. Every day, I get to work in a peaceful environment, free from the negativity that used to surround me. I can finally concentrate on expanding my business and exploring new opportunities. My parents have been incredibly supportive, and their encouragement has been a huge help. I'm planning to use some of the money I've earned from my store to renovate their house and make it more comfortable for them. The online store is doing great. I've expanded my product range and attracted more customers, which has helped increase sales significantly. I'm excited about the future and all the possibilities that lie ahead. Without the burden of a controlling partner, I feel more empowered and ready to take on new challenges. I've also reconnected with old friends who have been supportive and encouraging. They're happy to see me doing well and pursuing my passions. It's been refreshing to spend time with people who genuinely care about me and my happiness. Traveling has become a big part of my life now. I often go abroad to find unique products for my store. These trips have not only helped my business, but also allowed me to see the world and experience new cultures. It's something I always dreamed of doing, and now it's a reality. Looking back, I realize how important it was to put myself and my dreams first. Staying in a relationship that didn't support my goals would have only held me back. The decision to move on wasn't easy, but it was the best thing I could have done for myself. I'm proud of the progress I've made, and the person I've become. The road ahead is full of potential, and I'm eager to see where it takes me. My focus now is on growing my business, taking care of my parents, and enjoying the freedom to live life on my own terms. I'm excited about the future and grateful for the opportunities that lie ahead.